Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features an interview with the CEO of Lantern Pharma Inc. Lantern Pharma is a clinical-stage biopharmaceutical company redefining oncology drug development through artificial intelligence. Its proprietary RADAR platform leverages more than 200 billion oncology-specific data points to rapidly identify drug candidates, optimize patient targeting, and de-risk clinical trials, cutting early development time and cost by up to 70% and 80% respectively. Lantern's pipeline includes 3 clinical stage assets: LP300 for non-small cell lung cancer in never smokers, LP184 for DDR-deficient solid tumors, and LP284 for aggressive B-cell lymphomas. The company also advances central nervous system oncology programs via its subsidiary Starlight Therapeutics and is developing novel antibody drug conjugates in collaboration with global partners. With 11 FDA designations, more than 100 issued and pending patents, and partnerships spanning Johns Hopkins, MD Anderson, and Bielefeld University, Lantern is positioned to unlock value through precision-driven clinical execution and strategic collaborations, all backed by $19.7 million in cash and a lean operating structure. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Before we dive into our first interview, let's take a moment to recognize some of RedChip's top performers in 2024. Among them, RedCat up an incredible 1,293% in 2024. Alliance Entertainment soaring by 842%, Gorilla Technology, which gained 250%, and Nova Minerals, up 149%. These companies have demonstrated the immense potential of the small-cap market. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
A new era of small-cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small-cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
Now, let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. The market is not simply a digital machine executing trades, reflecting buy and sell orders, and recording price movements. The market does not operate as an island unto itself. The market is an extension of the investors who bring it to life every day. Investors who breathe into it all their prejudices, presuppositions, knowledge and lack of knowledge, needs, hopes and fears, rational and irrational volatility, and inefficiencies extraordinaire. This quote comes from Dave Gentry, President and CEO of RedChip Companies, and it is featured in Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our interview today with Lantern Pharma. Hello, today we have Panna Sharma, President and CEO of Lantern Pharma, trading on the NASDAQ under the ticker LTRN. Panna, welcome to the show.
Craig, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Panna, your AI platform is called RADAR. It is already huge. It's got 200 billion oncology data points, and it is growing month by month. In what specific ways do you anticipate that RADAR will alter the company's approach to identifying and advancing new drug candidates in the coming year?
Yeah, I think more than altering, I think it's going to reinforce our existing approach, which is we're a data-driven company. We have a data-driven approach to drug development. The more data we have, both from studies outside that we're doing, as well as our own laboratories that we work with, as well as our own clinical trials. It advances ideas to come up with new indications. And as a company, we're going after very unusual indications, indications where there's no approved therapy, indications where we can get orphan status. So it'll accelerate those. And that means, of course, new IP. It also means that we can uncover new combinations, which has been actually one of the most important things in the development of our platform is uncovering combinations. How does our drug, in combination with other approved therapies, improve the potential survival of a patient? And also, as we generate new combinations and new indications, it allows us to partner those out with pharma. So we end up with a much larger portfolio that can be partnered out. And so for investors, that means more shots on goal ultimately. And the faster you generate new combinations, new indications, and you prove those out, that really, then all that data feeds back into the platform. And so as the platform grows, it grows our ability to generate value generation events for our investors.
Now, what I want to know is, how has Radar enabled Lantern to grow from 3 programs at IPO in 2021 to 12 today? And which platform enhancements or process changes were most critical to that expansion?
Yeah, I think that, touching on enhancements, it really has been about enhancements. Those enhancements mostly have been in the area of the functional enhancements to the platform, new capabilities, things that we weren't doing. But also the process changes have been mostly focused on automation. Things that our team was doing manually are now done in an automated way by the platform itself, like gathering new data, curating data, generating meta tags for data, learning from existing literature. So all that is now automated. So the platform actually has its own kind of rhythm, its own livability in a sense. But beyond the process changes, let me tell you some specifics in terms of the functionality. And that's really quite fascinating is the platform is really focused on understanding how a molecule can work or not work in cancer, not only in solid tumors, but also in blood cancers. And so that really is the core of our engine. But we also enhanced it. We were able to enhance our platform to help us develop new molecules by understanding their binding properties, develop new molecules by doing molecular optimization across thousands and thousands of parameters of certain types of molecules. And those are capabilities we did not have when we went public. And so one of the most important things about any platform is to have a roadmap. And our roadmap, and I think we're achieving this now, is ultimately to have the world's largest and most potent oncology drug development AI platform. And that's allowed us to generate totally new molecules, first in human molecules like our LP-284 drug for B-cell lymphomas. It's also allowed us to generate totally new antibody drug conjugates, which have never been generated before. So we've been able to generate new molecules, find new indications, and very importantly, all the data that we're getting now from our studies, all the data we're getting from our collaborators, and data from trials all feeds back into the platform. The platform every month or every time there's new data ingestion generates new capabilities. And so more than anything in terms of what enhancements, the enhancements really have been lots of additional functionality. Functionality to define combinations, functionality to uncover the core pharmacological agent or engine involved in transforming a cancer or attacking a cancer, generating totally new combinations of drugs. And so I expect these to only accelerate. But most importantly, what I'm very excited about is the platform itself is now learning. And so one of the interesting patents that we generated is a patent that's called a meta-learner patent, where a meta-learner sits on top of the platform and learns what is the platform doing best, and then generates new algorithms based on the best performing algorithm. And so that gives a certain level of, I would say, awareness to the platform. And there's probably going to be even more and more layers of awareness where the platform, independent of our own involvement, can start recursing itself and improving itself. And ultimately, that's going to be really phenomenal for areas like drug discovery.
Now, Pana, speaking of clinical trials and combinations with pre-existing therapies, I believe you recently reported some data on LP300. Could you elaborate?
Absolutely. So LP300 has been put into a phase 2 trial, and we had a very remarkable response with the patient. Now, ultimately, I want to, of course, thank the patient and the patient's family. It takes a lot of courage to enroll into a clinical trial, for an experimental drug candidate. So first, for every biotech CEO, we should always think about the patients and what they undergo in the process. We were very fortunate, and also the patient, they had a fairly durable, complete response in their primary cancer lesions, meaning that their primary tumor, which was lung cancer, and then also it had spread to the adrenal gland, was completely gone. And so we initially had reported this as a partial response back last year, and as the trial matured, it accelerated to a complete response, which is really fantastic. The patient subsequently had done so well, they actually decided to come off the trial.
Well,
So, again, patients first. I think the patient and their family has tremendous courage to enroll. We're glad to see this kind of result, typically in people who are never smokers. And for this kind of patient, where this was a third or fourth line treatment, it's really unusual to see a complete durable response of more than 2 years. And so this gives us a lot of excitement about how we can think about the responses in this trial, because we're seeing other responses. We had an 86% clinical benefit rate in the first readout for LP300. We've expanded it now to Japan and Taiwan, where never smoking and people who are never smokers that come down with non-small cell lung cancer is about 2 to 2.5 times the rate of the United States. It's a large population. We anticipate there's about $4 to $5 billion spent annually trying to treat never smokers. And ironically, never smokers actually end up oftentimes doing much worse than smokers because there is no real targeted therapy. Once they fail kinase drugs, which is about almost all the time, you eventually will fail kinase drugs, then that's a great role for LP300. And we've seen that so far. Again, I point to our 86% clinical benefit rate. I point to this wonderful complete response that we've had in this patient, complete response in the primary lesions. And we're seeing also other patients that are seeing good ongoing benefit from the drug. There's no drug approved for never smokers, so we think we can probably aim for an accelerated approval on the path towards an approval. And we hope to partner out this drug with larger pharma, either geographically, in certain geographies like Asia or Europe, or even globally. So again, I think the biggest thing is that the patient had the courage to enter into the trial. We've seen wonderful benefit in the patient. There's no approved therapy in this population, but $4 to $5 billion annually spent for this population. And we think we're on the path towards a meaningful readout.
that is just great, Pana. Fabulous results. Now, turning to the total addressable market, what is that market for Lantern's lead indications, and how does Lantern's core business model capture value across discovery services, partnerships, and eventual product commercialization?
Yeah, it's something, ultimately, in the business of biotech, you do have to care about the addressable populations. And, first of all, our primary focus is always to think about, is the molecule meaningful? Does it have a meaningful impact in the disease that we want to try to solve for? And then, of course, think about what's the addressable market. And then think about how do we expand that addressable market, which is really important. But we see that our indications that we're going after for LP300, LP184, LP284, those are the drugs that are in clinical stages today. The indications for those three drugs alone exceeds $22 billion. So there's a lot of addressable market for those populations, and many of those are in diseases that are rare. Some are orphan, and so we even have additional commercial protections. LP184 is a very unique molecule because it works across a lot of different solid tumors. And similar LP284 today works very well in a couple of very targeted B-cell lymphomas. So, we're very fortunate to have some very meaningful and very large addressable markets for our drugs, but we also have some new drugs in the preclinical pipeline that we haven't even talked about. But that'll be more for next year's story. And those are also some large populations as well.
Pana, that's very exciting, and I can't wait to hear more about your results in the coming months. Now, your company has already achieved a number of important FDA designations, such as Orphan Drug and Fast Track. How has your team achieved so many? Would you like to elaborate on that, please?
Yeah. So this is actually really a great testament to the power of the AI platform and indications, is that many of the indications that we have 11 indications. So that's almost one for every 2 employees. That's a very remarkable ratio. Yeah. So great work on the hands of the team to not only find and uncover these indications, but then to get the various designations. Just for the audience, we have 5 orphan designations. We have 4 rare pediatric disease designations, and we have 2 fast track designations. The fast track designations are in triple negative breast cancer and in glioblastoma. The rare pediatric designations, if we get approval in any one of those, that can give us a priority review voucher, which then we can sell for about $100 to $150 million. So just those 4 priority review vouchers can be worth 20 times our current market value. So they're very important. And the reason we're able to get those designations, including the orphan designations, of which we have 5, orphan designations are important because they allow you to get more one-on-one time with the FDA. They give you many years of additional commercial IP protection, and they also relieve you of some of the filing fees. So all of these designations have lots of importance. And part of the thing we always think about is there a cancer that our drug can work better in? Is there a subtype of disease? So if the drug looks like it simply works in DNA damage repair deficient cancers, what other pathways, what other genes can we go after that maybe give us a more remarkable, more durable? Then we think about, are there cancers that have no drugs approved where we can exploit this mechanism? So there's always the constant thinking about, like, where can we use this molecule better? Where can we use it further? Where can we push it to where there's a huge unmet need? And I think that's a great testament to the team. And also it shows how we're using data to generate ideas and then validate ideas quickly.
Pana, it's a cliche, but we've got to ask it. Management, critical to any company, and especially a small cap company. Introduce us to your team, please.
Yeah, we're a small company, so every person counts. Every person is wearing multiple hats in our company. Our CFO does a lot of operational activity. He's been heavily involved in a lot of our IP and legal work as well, as a trained lawyer. So yeah, every member of our team, our CFO was president of a cancer pharma company in the past. Our chief scientific officer was at the NCI and also head of cancer research in multiple hospitals in the past. Our head of platform development was at the Broad Institute. Our chief medical officer was the head of neuro-oncology and neuro-oncology programs at multiple institutions. Everyone's got a wonderful background, but the key to them is that they're all really hands-on, roll up the sleeves, wear multiple hats. And that's the ethos of our company. We want to make drugs faster. We want to make drugs with less expense. And we want to make drugs that really can make a difference in meaningful cancers quickly. So that's what really drives the ethos of the company, is to use data, not because we want to use AI, but we want to use the power of this technology to transform the cost of developing cancer medicines. It shouldn't cost billions of dollars to develop every indication. And so our team is sleeves rolled up, hands-on, wear multiple hats. And that's a great testament to the kind of people that are working at Lantern across the board.
Final question, Pana, the essential value proposition. Tell us why investors should be focusing on Lantern today, and please focus on any near-term catalysts that might be coming.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. So over the next 12 months is a really important time. We've got data coming out for across all of our existing clinical trials. LP-184 will complete enrollment in the coming months, and we'll have data later this year. LP-284 will have some data this year. LP-300. And so all of our trials will have readouts. And since they're open label, we may also have some really great stories about individual responses or groups of patients as well to share. But in addition to the readouts from our existing clinical trials, we also will have some very exciting news on the AI platform. So the AI platform Radar, we plan on making available portions of the platform publicly. And so we'll be releasing many open source modules of our AI platform out to the public. Modules such as being able to predict the blood-brain barrier, modules to help with the development of rare cancers, modules to help with understanding antibody drug conjugate design, modules to look at the interpretation of liquid biopsy in the presence of certain clinical trials. So these are all tools that we've been using internally, and they've accelerated our drug development and for some of our partners as well. But now we're going to transform that and really change the space of oncology drug development by releasing them out to the public. And so that's a very exciting time. So that's going to happen starting this quarter, and we'll be rolling out modules over the course of the next several quarters. So our trials will continue. We'll have readouts in our trials, but also our AI platform will be unveiled and opened up. So we expect both fronts to have meaningful progress through the year.
Pana, great to have you in our Orlando studios, and thanks for coming down.
Thank you, Craig.
Now, to get more information on Lantern Pharma, visit LTRN.info. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Lantern Pharma. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies. And you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's recap the company featured today. Today, you met the CEO of Lantern Pharma Incorporated, LTRN on the NASDAQ. Lantern Pharma is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company redefining oncology drug development through artificial intelligence. Its proprietary Radar platform leverages more than 200 billion oncology-specific data points to rapidly identify drug candidates, optimize patient targeting, and de-risk clinical trials, cutting early development time and cost by up to 70% and 80% respectively. Lantern's pipeline includes 3 clinical stage assets: LP-300 for non-small cell lung cancer in never smokers, LP-184 for DDR-deficient solid tumors, and LP-284 for aggressive B-cell lymphomas. The company also advances central nervous system oncology programs via its subsidiary, Starlight Therapeutics, and is developing novel antibody drug conjugates in collaboration with global partners. With 11 FDA designations, more than 100 issued and pending patents, and partnerships spanning Johns Hopkins, MD Anderson, and Bielefeld University, Lantern is positioned to unlock value through precision-driven clinical execution and strategic collaborations, all backed by $19.7 million in cash and a lean operating structure. Learn more at www.ltrn.info. Don't forget, check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange whose market caps are $2 billion or less, and it's categorized by industries. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel, and be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small-cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thank you for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.
RedChip. We build investor audiences for small cap companies, retail and institutional. 33 years, thousands of clients. We are experts in messaging. National TV ad campaigns, investor webinars, digital media, reaching hundreds of thousands of investors. RedChip. We do it well, we do it right, we do it big. RedChip. Call us or email us today.